is FierceMG. So I actually heard some word from my guild members that actually did watch that GM livestream in the North American server, and they actually teased a trailer of the next 3 dungeons that we were supposed to get from the Korean server, which they happened to got more recently. Assuming with their update time frame pattern that the North American server did, ever since we actually got the new update for the new 2 dungeons that we actually got, which is going to be the dungeon I actually mentioned in the last video, we're supposed to get the update for the last 3 dungeons that the Korean server has roughly the week after next week. So there's some time for us to prepare if you were actually want to try in the first place, just to use this enhancement event that's going to take place tomorrow or this Saturday, and use this opportunity to burn your wallets, try to get your gear at the best maximum enhancement as you can go, and then when the event does come, you can actually probably tell by your experiences on how it went, and tell all of us, I probably say this most nicest way as possible, but us commoners of the fact like how you guys do with that new dungeon that they threw at us with a very insane CP requirement just to get into the dungeon, and the very limited restrictions that they place on us just to complete that dungeon. So if you actually were fortunate enough to actually do those dungeons within a week from next week, just drop down a comment down below, then hopefully the community will actually talk about how fun it is or how engaging the new dungeon is in terms of our responses to that back in the past, that we do require some more communications with the new raid boss, and making the end content what it should be with all the difficulty it actually has behind its back, because you know, in games in general, the end game content is supposed to be the most hardest one of all, so it kind of makes sense the fact they actually make it so hard in the first place, because you're supposed to be strong enough to hold on your own. You're supposed to know all the mechanics behind the game, and you're supposed to know all your stuff just to survive all the stuff they can throw at you. And that's probably the point of making this difficulty hard in the first place. But at the same time, it's kind of too much of the extreme to the point that your back is always against the wall, and then you have to be constantly aware that the boss actually does a certain move that will instantly kill you. Then that's actually when you have to communicate with your guild members or your party members that like, okay, he's actually doing something that actually can kill all of us, make sure you get out of the way or something like that. Yeah, that part I actually do appreciate the fact that they actually put on the game, because from my experience of playing other games with raid bosses, it's kind of fun the fact that it's a big boss, a lot of health pools, and then you have to go through a lot of communications to the fact in order to either get through the objectives more successfully or actually just damage the raid boss in general, compared to what we had in the past with Perkius and Eltron, and now we have Drbaki. Now in this case it's just basically almost the same hack and slash type of things, and I do appreciate the fact they actually added on there, but almost at the same time it's kind of way too much of extreme that it's to the point that no one can actually participate in it. It's basically a giant paywall that kind of hinders majority of the population of players that we have in the North American server that couldn't afford almost all the gears that we have right now. And even with the event that's going on, that's been giving us +9s almost like the past couple of months now, that's not the point that they can actually hold out on their own, because there's players out there who actually do like to challenge themselves. And even with the gear they currently have right now, for let's say for example they have the Eltron gear, all +9s from all events that's been getting +9s, and even with the wood weapon too, it's going to push them around like 200k CP, and not enough is already challenging for them, because some of the moves that either the mobs or the boss can actually whip out either almost like 90% of their health off already, and then they don't have that much chance to learn from mistakes, and later on when they do it again they're actually more prepared, and then they actually can do it more repetitively, and at the same time they can actually continue farming whatever gear or accessory that they want from that particular dungeon. However, certain games I actually observed from what I just did some research on, if you guys actually played Warframe before, that's actually probably the best developer studio to actually set the example for almost all the companies, because they actually do care about their player base, it's free to play, and almost all the frames that you can actually get in the game is actually, although the grind level is pretty intensive and it's pretty long, but the long run, it's not actually the point that when you pay for a certain frame, it's not actually going to break the game to the point that one person who actually has a lot of cash can invest their character versus a player that actually spent a lot of time working hard for the gear, and they actually went through all the frustration of taking their patience and investing a lot of time just to get that gear too, and they actually are rewarded the fact like their efforts are paid off. And for those of you that actually did pay for it, they just get the premium stuff that's basically almost cosmetics or any other features that actually are paid content only, but not to the point that actually breaks the game. And Although KOG at this point is pretty much beyond redemption because of what they've done so far, but if we actually play more MMORPGs down the future, if we actually took the chance to do so, I just hope that for almost all of the online companies out there can actually follow the developers at Warframe's example of caring about their player base and try to keep the level playing field between those players that actually does invest a lot of money into the game just to enhance their gear versus those players are actually willing to go through the whole grinding and all that time investment just to get the gear they want just to suit their character needs. So that'll actually be it for the video today. So if you guys actually want to bring some topics on down in the comments regarding anything I said, or you want to bring something up for the community to talk about, do feel free to do so. Just drop down a comment below and then we can actually start discussion amongst ourselves, or you want to bring the entire community involved. That's something I actually like to see more often. That the last video I made was actually a blockbuster explosion that I actually haven't done before, and I do like those type of things because they actually engage their entire community to share their thoughts or opinions, or if you guys make an argument they can do that so too, because it's their choice. And I do look forward to see those comments, and if possible we can actually start some new topics together, and probably down in the future if I were to make new content regarding this discussions, we can actually bring that too and actually can bring it up to the next video. This is actually the first MG and I'll be signing out. Goodbye for now.